Hello, welcome to Gemini Star Spiritual Wellness. In today's video, we're going to continue to be talking about the spiritual awakening ascension process. And today we're talking about a very important phase of the process, probably the most important phase, called dark night of the soul. And we're going to be discussing about what that is and how that works and what the process is like. And I'll be talking about some of my own personal experiences with it, going through this process for many years at this point. So the dark night of the soul is a very tough part of the process because there's a lot of things that you're going through. And it is a isolation period of healing. So basically, it's a lot of healing. But it's not something that's easy to go through, right? Because healing can sometimes be difficult and traumatic and it's a lot of work. And basically, that's what Dark Night of the Soul is. But it's an important part of the ascension awakening process that we all have to go through. So, when we are raising our vibration through this awakening ascension process, we are vibrating faster, right? So, our vibration, our cells are moving faster, our body's vibrating faster on a higher level, right? We're becoming less dense and we're lifting up. So, as our vibration lifts up and we become less dense and we're vibrating faster, we need to shed things that are negative in our lives or things that are no longer in alignment with us as we go through this process. So, Dark Night of the Soul is different for everybody as far as the length of time that you go through it. Some people, it's going to be faster than others. It just depends on how much healing that you have to do and how much, of all that you have to work through because everybody's different as far as how much healing they have to do and what lessons they've learned and what negative things they have to work through. So, Dark Night of the Soul is basically you're releasing low vibrational energy and negative energy. But that can also take the form of different beliefs that you might have, or behaviors that you've always done, or karma from previous lives, or decisions that you've made in this life. So basically, you have to get rid of that negative energy. You have to get rid of those negative beliefs and that low vibrational behavior, negative behavior, all of that has to go because as you're lifting up, there's no room for it. As your vibration gets higher, those negative energies, negative behaviors, and beliefs are like holding you down, basically like an anchor. And in my mind, that's how I see it. It's like an anchor holding me down. And that's not good for anybody, right? It's just holding us back. And it makes, if you don't let it go, it makes the process even harder. And so, what I seem to find out in my own life is if you hold on to those negative beliefs, those negative behaviors, and thought patterns and lower vibrational stuff, over time, if you don't let it go, it's kind of like the universe helps you let it go. It's not usually in a very pleasant way. It's a lot of times like in tarot, you get the tower card. It's like, bam, it just hits you really fast and sudden sometimes. And when you're going through it, it's like your whole world's crashing and ending, but it's actually for your greater good, but you don't see it at the moment. So it's kind of like the universe is helping us, our spirit team's helping us to release these things and let go of this negative energy. And they're patient, they're guiding us, they're trying to help us, nudge us in the right direction to make these changes. But if you don't do it, they're going to help do it for you. And that's going to be a lot more, I guess, harder to handle than if you did it on your own. So there's basically they're there to guide you, but they're not going to let you slide and basically ignore it for forever. Eventually, you have to go through this process. And it makes sense because as we're getting into the higher vibrational earth, the new earth, we can't take all that with us. We can't take all that negative stuff with us. We have to let it go and release it. And that's why it's healing. So even though Dark Night of the Soul sounds scary and it doesn't sound like a very pleasant experience, and it's not in a way because you're doing all that healing, right? And releasing, but it's actually very positive because it is healing. Right. And part of it is too, like, we grow up on this planet and we are instilled with different beliefs through either our family or society or, what we were taught in school. And we hold on and cling on to those beliefs from our childhood. And as you go through your life, you make decisions usually based subconsciously on those beliefs, right? And it could also be like, experiences that you've had, right? That can also play a part in it. So beliefs, experiences that you've had, behaviors that you have. And a lot of times this stuff is subconscious. You don't really realize you're doing it. But after so many years of having these beliefs and it does become subconscious, right? In these behaviors, a lot of times it's like you learn coping mechanisms or whatever to help you get through, your daily life here on earth, right? So I feel like it can be very challenging, but when you kind of come through the other side, it's going to be much better for us. And we're going to be so grateful that we went through this process. But when you're going through it, it's never easy. It's never easy at all. But it is an isolation period. I feel like for me personally, I definitely felt like I wanted to withdraw from the world as I was going through this healing. And part of it too is, when we talked about the ascension process in earlier videos, you're like I said, your vibrations getting higher, you're vibrating at a faster level, but also it's like your consciousness is coming into play, right? You're awakening to a higher level of consciousness. So things that you didn't see before that didn't make sense to you before, now you do. But the problem with that is a lot of times the people that are around you, they don't understand what you're seeing or you're going through, right? And that can be very complicated and hard to handle because you see things in a different way now, but your friends and people that you hang around with might not. So you feel like I felt like I was on another planet, basically, from other people a lot of times because it's like the things I was seeing that I wanted to talk about, I really couldn't talk about to them because, they didn't understand what I was talking about. And sometimes I would try, to talk about these topics and things I was learning, but I could tell a lot of times they weren't comfortable with it. They'd shut me down really quick. And, it wasn't going to go anywhere, that conversation. So I learned to basically keep it in myself and not say anything over time, it's like when I would meet people that I felt would be more receptive to what I was learning, then I could share it with them. Then I felt like, okay, maybe this person's going to understand me a little better and I can talk about this on some level. But I definitely can understand why they call it an isolation period of healing because you are doing a lot of healing and it's like you need to go within, right? And spend time with yourself. And I found myself doing that. Like I really didn't want to go out as much and be around people as much. I was home a lot more and I just focused on myself and focused on meditating and focused on doing, taking care of myself and the self-care as I went through this process. And basically, just stayed focused in that level. And I did feel very isolated in a way because, like I said, you can't really relate to a lot of other people. But then there was a part of me that didn't want to be around people very much either, because going within. So it's definitely a period of going within. And like I said earlier in the video, I mean, some people this might last for a couple years, some people a couple months. For me, it was probably a couple years and it's very it can be very confusing. It can be, in a way when you first start going through it, but you just have to follow what you feel intuitively. So if you feel like you need to, stay home more, take care of yourself and focus on yourself, then do that because it's just a process you have to go through and everyone's a little different on how they're going to handle it. But basically, you're letting go of all those negative things that you need to let go of to go to the next level. I'm looking at my notes here so I can make sure I'm getting everything in. So, you have to go through this process to get to your authentic self, to become your authentic self. And basically that's what you're getting back to because what I said earlier about all the beliefs we carried since childhood, the things that we were programmed with, indoctrinated with, all those beliefs and all those thoughts and all that programming that like I said, it gets onto a subconscious level and you carry it throughout your life and you make a lot of decisions based on that programming right, that you went through and those belief systems. So when you go through this process, you're letting and shedding that all, letting it go and shedding it and becoming more who you really are. Now, that can mean some really big changes in your life too. Like say for example that you've been pressured to go into a certain career because that's what your family wanted you to do or that's what you felt like, they were kind of pushing you that way or that's what your friends were doing or but it wasn't something that you were super passionate about, but you felt pushed in that direction from others. And then maybe 20, 30 years down the road, you're like, wait a minute, I'm not happy doing this. I can't stand doing this anymore. And you make a complete different career shift into something that you're passionate about. And of course, some people are going to be really shocked by that decision, right? Like, what's wrong with you? You've got this great career, you're doing this, but it's not something you're passionate about. It's not your authentic self. And you're trying to get back to that authentic self and shedding those things that don't allow you to be your authentic self. Because if you're doing a job or you're in a relationship that brings you down, that's lower vibrational, it's holding you down like that anchor I talked about earlier. And it's not allowing you to raise your vibration. It's keeping you down and holding you back. And you need to let that go in order so you can move forward and go through this process. So it's, letting go of things in your life that are just not in alignment with you. And then, as we change our vibration, our energy, it goes up, we have a different alignment, right? Energetic alignment. And people that in our life that are not in that alignment with us, our new alignment, they're going to fall out of your life somehow, right? They're going to fall away. You're not going to feel drawn to them like you did before to be a friend. Even if it's a family member, you're not going to feel comfortable around them. That's what I experienced. People that I no longer vibrated with, I guess in this way, put it in alignment with. I definitely felt I just wasn't interested in, in continuing that friendship or to be around them as much because, you're just no longer on the same page, so to speak. You're no longer in alignment. And this is all energy. And, you can feel it. You can feel when you're no longer in alignment with somebody or a job or, whatever's going on with your life. You'll no longer feel that. And it will feel like you'll kind of feel repulsed by it, like you have to get away from it and you have to change. And then what will happen is as your vibration lifts, you'll start to find people who are in alignment with you, in your new alignment, your higher alignment, and you'll start bringing those people into your life. They'll start coming into your life, and basically you'll have new friends, a new group of people, that will come into your life that you'll feel more comfortable being around and spending time with because they're on that higher vibration that you're now on, that the other people weren't there. You left them behind. And it's nothing against the people that you're leaving behind or the situations you're leaving behind, whether it's a relationship or a job. It's just you're just not in alignment with them. I mean, it's nothing against them. You're just no longer in alignment with them and you're not going to feel comfortable around them. So, in these big life changes, they can really, you know, be like I said, they can be kind of subtle or they can be drastic to get us on our life path. And sometimes the universe, like I said, they'll only let you play around and drag your feet for so long. And then it's like, nope, you need to be on this new path. So we're going to make it happen. If you're not going to do it voluntarily, we're going to help it along. And sometimes that can be pretty rough when they help it along, like suddenly use your job, right? But then that's because you're meant to go to a different job that's going to be a lot better for you, right? For whatever your mission and path is and your goals are, right? And same with relationships. Say you're in a bad relationship, a toxic relationship, and you've been dragging your feet on leaving for whatever reason, right? Something's keeping you there, right? And usually it's fear, right? Could really, a lot of times I think it's fear that holds people in those situations for whatever kind of fear, but something's holding you there. And then the universe is like, nope, time to get rid of this relationship. It's holding you back. It's not on your path moving forward, not part of your forward mission. And so something will happen and that relationship will end. So there are different phases of this. I'm looking at my notes again. Bear with me. I wrote it on down. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. So there are different phases. The first one is acceptance. So acceptance is basically allowing yourself time to pause and basically hermit. So you're allowing yourself to, spend that time alone, focus on yourself. Don't feel guilty about staying home a little bit more. And just, if you don't want to be around people, you're not feeling comfortable being around groups of people, or you just want to, kind of hermit, stay within yourself, around yourself, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Allow yourself that time because you need that. That's part of the process of healing is to allow yourself time to be alone and if you feel you need to do that, then do it. The second part is surrender. So that would be what I was talking about earlier. So letting go of things that are no longer in alignment with you vibrationally, with your energy, and that is holding you back. So, like I said, it'll big, usually it could be big life changes at this point that you make. And some people who don't know about spiritual awakening or ascension, they're going to be probably shocked that you're making these big changes because to them, it looks like everything's great. You got this great job, you're making a lot of money, or you're very successful at it, or you're in this relationship that looks really good on paper, right? Looks great from the outside world, but you're not happy in it. You're not fulfilled in it. And in your heart, it's time to leave these situations. You're not fulfilled, you're not happy, it's not bringing you joy, and it's holding you down vibrationally and not uplifting you, and then it's time to move on, right? So from people looking at it from the outside perspective, they might think, well, wow, it's crazy you're making this decision. Why are you doing this? Well, they don't understand because they're not in your heart. Right? They don't know what you're going through, and everybody's different, like what they want to do, what's in their heart, what they're drawn to. So it's just a lack of understanding. They're not, they might not understand it unless they're going through the process themselves. And then they could be like, yeah, I understand. I've got my own my own things I'm letting go of, in the surrender phase. The next phase would be self-care. So basically take care of yourself during this time. Make sure that you're getting enough sleep, make sure you're exercising, eating well, taking care of yourself, make sure you're laughing, because laughter really helps bring your vibration up, right? Make sure, that you are spending time with people that you love and care about that are uplifting, right? That are in alignment with you and doing things that you enjoy. We spend a lot of time our daily life, right? Doing chores and things that we have to do, but not things that we're passionate and enjoy on a really, profound level. So try to make that time for yourself where you're doing those things. And I really, for me personally, I really tried to take care of myself during this time because it was hard. I mean, it's for me personally, this whole process has been going on for years. The whole dark night of the soul. For me, it wasn't just a few months; it was a couple years. Major life changes that I went through, and it was at times it was very scary. It was very, and a lot of times, in the beginning, I doubted myself, like, am I doing the right thing here? But I wanted to follow my heart and that's what I did is I just kept following my intuition, following my heart. So even if it seemed like, I was making these crazy decisions to people in the outside world, I knew in my heart I was doing the right thing. And I wanted to explain to them why I was doing it, and sometimes I might try to, but most of the time they had no idea what I was talking about. I think they just thought, I lost my mind or something. They had no idea. But it's basically, just take care of yourself because it is a difficult period. It can be very stressful to be letting go of these things because you think about it, you could be in a relationship for decades, right? And all of a sudden you can't be in it anymore. It's time to let it go. And that's a major stress, right? Because you're getting out of that comfort zone, letting go of something that it might have been stagnant but you were comfortable in it, right? And so now you're letting that go, and that can be scary. And same with a job. If you've had a job for years and years and years and it's, stagnant, but it pays the bills and it's comfortable and, and all of a sudden you're making this major change, that can be a little scary and intimidating. So definitely focus on the self-care. I also try to make sure that, I spent time doing things I love, but also like meditating really helped me through this period because it helped me connect with that, my inner self. It helped me connect with my higher self as well and being able to like follow my intuition on a, deeper, stronger level. So definitely be good to yourself. And it could be different things too, like clearing your energy. One thing I like to do for myself is Reiki. I don't do Reiki on other people, but I like to have it done to me. I go to Reiki sessions and have Reiki sessions for myself, and I feel like it's a tune up for me energetically. So when I get out of that session, I feel great. I'm ready to go. I feel like everything's in alignment energetically, and I'm ready to roll. But for me, that's something that I've picked up starting to do to really kind of help me through this process and help keep me grounded as I go through it. Another part of it would be to, let's make sure. Yeah, make sure that it's kind of an endurance with this. It can be very difficult. So it is a long process. And there's a quote I have here from Saint John of the Cross, and this was a gentleman who lived in the Middle Ages, and I believe he was a monk at the time. And he said, "The endurance of darkness is preparation for great light." So basically, you have to go through the darkness of the dark night of the soul to get to great light, which is awakening, ascension, higher consciousness, a higher, better way of being, right? But you have to go through the darkness and let go of all that darkness to get to that light. And we all want that. We all want to get to that light and be our better version of ourselves and the higher version of ourselves that way. Also, there's different ways to handle this for everybody, and you will find your way, as you go through this process. And like I said, I know it's stressful because I'm, gone through it myself, and I'm, still kind of going through it. So it can be a very challenging process to go through, but you will get there you'll get through it. And just like I said, take care of yourself, do what you need to do to help you relax and get through it. Like I said, meditation, sometimes listening to music can help, being in nature can help. I like being outside a lot in nature when the weather permits. Go out there, just listen to the birds, look at the sun, walk around in the trees. That really makes me feel good. Spending time with animals and children really, I really enjoy that a lot. That makes me feel good as well and helps lift my vibration. So, taking care of yourself. But I do want to end this video on some guidance that I was given a couple years ago by my spirit guides. And they were talking about, this process of ascension, this isn't pretty just about Dark Night of the Soul. It's just about ascension in general. But it was some good, very good advice. And I've been living up to that as best I can every day since then. So I've been working on this for a couple years, and I wanted to share with you. So there's three things they told me to basically focus on to keep your vibration high. Because if you keep your vibration high through this process and do things to help lift your vibration, then that will help the process go through, better, right? You'll have a better time going through the dark night of the soul. So basically, they told me to keep my energy balanced as much as possible. And I've noticed, compared to when I first started going through this process 10 years ago, I am much more balanced with my energy than I used to be. And here's an example. Um, when in the past, if I got upset about something before I started going through this process, I had a hard time letting it go. And sometimes I would hold on to it for, a couple days, right? And stew on it for a couple days. I had a hard time getting over it. But now it's like if something happens that upsets me, I'm much better at just letting it go. Like water down a duck's back, just phew, and it's gone. And I've gotten much better at that. And so now it's like it might bother me for an hour or two, and then I've moved on. I've let it go. And I feel like I've gotten much better at being able to keep my energy in a very, very balanced state and not be, way up or way down. I'm very equilibrium. And that doesn't mean I don't get upset or I have bad moments or bad days, but I'm able to basically bounce back and get back to that equal balance much, much quicker than I used to be able to. So basically keeping our energy balanced as much as possible. And that did get better with over time. I mean, it's not something that I got better with overnight. I mean, we're talking years I've been working on this. So it took me a couple years to need to get better at that. Being in the moment was another thing they talked about, is making sure that we stay in the moment, because you think about every day's precious, right? And every minute of the day is precious. And so it's like you want to spend your time doing good things, but you want to be in the moment. So if you're spending all your time worried about the future or dwelling on the past, you're not living in the moment. So that's part of letting go, and healing is letting go of the past, right? Lessons learned, you've learned lessons, okay, accept that and move on and let go and don't drag the baggage from the past. Don't drag that negative energy from the past with you. Let it go and be in the moment. And same with the future, let the future unfold naturally and basically use your intuition to guide you, because remember, the universe and your spirit team, they're always leading you to what's best for you. So there's really no reason to worry about your future, because it's coming in a positive way for you, right? If you have that faith and belief that good things are coming for you and everything's going to work out for your greater good, right? Even if you don't see it at the moment when you're going through it, then it makes it a lot easier not to worry about the future, because you know the future is going to be what's best for you, right? Your spirit guides are going to help you with that. And as well as, your higher self, which is part of that team. But the universe is going to help you because they want you to grow and they want you to have those experiences that are positive, and they want you to grow spiritually. So they're going to guide you to the future, to the path, to your mission, to those things that you might not consciously be aware of, but they're going to guide you on that path. So don't worry about it. Just follow your intuition and trust in them and their guidance, and they will lead you to where you need to be. So that makes it easier to stay in the moment. So just enjoy the moment. Just even if you're working during the day, try to spend some time just, enjoying your cup of tea, just enjoying the flavors of the tea, enjoying the heat, especially this time with winter coming off the cup, keeping you warm. Think about, maybe play music for a little bit, and just to help you stay in the moment, and just, try to stay in the moment as much as you can and enjoy those moments throughout the day and not get worried on, what's coming or what's behind you. And I know that can be very challenging for us because, we were kind of programmed not to do that in our society, not to stay in the moment. So that can be very challenging for us to learn to do, but it just takes time and practice. And just focus on it, just focus on the moment and enjoy every moment. Focus on who you're with, your conversations you're having at the moment, the people you're spending time with, and just focus on all the delights of that moment that you're in. The other part was staying in unconditional love. So this can also be a little challenging, especially if you're upset with people, or negative things were said, or there's hurt feelings involved, especially with things that have happened in the past. And that's part of the healing, right? Letting all that negativity go. And that could be things that happened in the past that were very negative, that brought you down, letting that go and healing from it, and basically staying in a place of unconditional love. So trying your best. And that doesn't mean you're going to be perfect at it every day, and every moment you're going to be in unconditional love. You're going to have moments you're not going to feel unconditional love, but you're going to do your best to try to stay in that unconditional love space. And as I said in the earlier video, unconditional love for all things, not just, people, but also animals and plants and nature and just all in general. So staying in that very gratitude, unconditional love space is a very good way to keep your vibration up and to help you through this ascension process. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that if you're going through the dark night of the soul, that this video helps you through the process. And just remember to hang in there. You'll get through it. And I want to talk. I'll probably be doing one more video about ascension awakening process, and then I'll move on to some other topics. But I wanted to start with the ascension and awakening ascension process because it's very important. And I knew that a lot of people are going to be going through it this year. 2025 is going to be a big, big year for people awakening all over the planet. So the collective consciousness is really going to shift and change. And I wanted to get this information out there for you all that are, so as you go through this process, you have a little bit more information. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. So as I make more videos, you'll get notified of them. Thank you for joining me today. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.